Welcome to episode 257 of the Reptile Gumbo podcast.
Howdy.
We're all here again.
Yay.
Yay. Our guest will be here shortly. Hey, everybody in the chat. We got C Anal Side. Our buddy Jeff's in the chat. Hopefully our audio sounds right because we're a little laggy. We'll see if it sounds good, though.
I hope so. I know the audio is a big deal to you.
It is a big deal to me. I also haven't put out the podcast from last week, but people are getting used to me just being late now.
I was about to say, I think if you were to put it out on time, they would be concerned about it.
The problem is the computer I edit on is now no longer the computer I do the podcast from.
Oh.
So I got to bring that computer back in here. And at some point, it'd be nice just to have like one really good computer, but we're not there yet.
No.
It's because Robert hadn't talked. He's right there. He's stuffing his face.
He just walked in the door.
I'm here. I'm eating some dried cherries really quick because I'm starving.
I inhaled a bowl of leftover chicken and dumplings.
I ate an entire bag of robin eggs. I know that's not like
We found 7 bags of them at Michael's.
so I bought them all.
They were less than $1 a bag.
I have a ton of Old Bay goldfish still that expired in like October, but I figured
They're still fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see. Let's do sponge stuff.
I can't find it.
Can't find sponge.
Oh wait, here it is. Okay.
And go.
Little Shops of Horrors.
That's not right. Rewind.
Lil's Shop of Horrors operates a commercial feeder breeder facility based out of San Antonio, Texas. They specialize in rats, mice, dubia roaches, Madagascar hissing cockroaches, and more. As feeder breeders, they focus on the nutritional needs of the animals that consume them. Nationwide shipping is available on live insects, and for frozen rodent shipments, reach out to check availability in your area. If you're looking to place an order, feel free to contact them through their social media pages at Lil's Shop of Horrors and email them through their inquiries page at lilsshopofhorrors.com.
Also, if you need to get a UVB light bulb and you haven't gotten a VivTech bulb yet, you suck. You suck. But it's fine. It's time to fix that.
That is not.
It's true. Go get one. Use code GUMBO22 and save 15%. Or you still have a little bit of time left to enter our giveaway. Go over to our Facebook page. Find the post. I'll make sure I have it at the top of the page. I don't know if I actually linked to the top of the page, but it will be. It is. It's at the top of the page. Go over there. Find the post. And all you gotta do is show us a picture of the animal that you want to use the bulb on, or the setup, or whatever. Give us a picture of what you want to do the bulb for, and you're in for the giveaway. And you can either win the. I don't want to get the names wrong because it's different than ever. So you can win the jungle cover or midday blaze, whichever one you need, and we will send you that. So go do that. We have a handful of folks that have already gone and done that. Just go over there, put a picture, and you're in. Also, Herb's Reptile Show. Let's go through that real quick. Next one coming up is May 3rd, May 4th in West Monroe, Louisiana. And then Stillwater, Oklahoma, May 31st, June 1st. Denison, Texas, June 7th, June 8th. In Conroe, Texas, I'll be at that one, June 14th, June 15th. Longview, Texas, June 21st, June 22nd. Sulphur, Louisiana, June 28th, June 29th. Slidell, Louisiana, June 19th, June 20th. And Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, June 26th and June 27th. Right.
It's a lot going on.
So come to a Herb show. In 2 weeks, we'll be in San Antonio at an oddity show. If anybody's in the San Antonio area, you can come see Robert and I will be selling 3D print stuff at the I don't want to get the name wrong. What's it called?
World Oddities Expo.
World Oddities Expo in San Antonio on the this is not touchscreen, so I can't. 17th of May. I don't know dates, but it's the 17th of May. Come see us. Buy lots of 3D print stuff.
I'm going to tell you where it's at too. Freeman Coliseum.
Yes, that place. Gonna be at that place. Come see us at that place. So that's what we got going on. Anything else going on lately?
Looking for a new place to live.
Robert is looking for a new place to live. He needs to get him a house.
House hunting sucks, but at the same time, it's kind of fun.
I agree.
I wish I was house selling right now. But now I got your parents and my parents' dog. all living at our house in Louisiana.
Yep.
Never gonna be able to sell that house. Our lychee, which is behind us, our lychee laid eggs again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I mean, they're shriveled up and dead and they were never fertilized, but she laid eggs.
Right?
So that's kind of cool. What you staring at, Katie?
The lizard that's staring at you.
Oh, yes. There is a skink staring at me.
He's like laying in his food bowl.
Little emerald tree skink staring at me. Creeper.
They're so funny.
Trying to think what else we got before our guest gets here. He's on his way. Our guest will be here shortly.
Stuff.
So much stuff.
Well, not really podcast stuff. Just I have a lot of stuff going on.
Here, while we're waiting on him, I'm gonna pull up our Facebook page. We got a lot of stuff over on our Facebook discussion group.
We did this week.
Well, we haven't talked about it since before the accident, and we took 2 weeks off. So there's a lot. So let's take a look at what we got over there. Oh, buddy Nathan posted this. It's a picture of, I think what they're saying is an eastern copperhead and a timber rattlesnake, which I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with no.
That's okay.
I'm going to go with Crocodile and, oh my God, my brain's so blank. Hold on.
I certainly cannot help you with this. So
Fuck me.
Let me pull it up.
Copperheads are same thing as cottonmouths.
That's the one Joey Josselson posted.
Yeah.
There's actually some credibility to that if you go read about it. Far down do I got to fucking scroll?
it's been a while.
It's a while. It's April 6th. I just wonder if it's just an aberrant copperhead.
Hold on. I'm getting there slowly but surely.
A keystone. Jeez. I could think of cottonmouth as like Piscivorus. What is the
I didn't realize
genus?
what you were trying to think up.
Yeah. I could not think of a genus for copperheads. But I don't know. It's maybe it's just, I've never seen. I mean, I've seen copperhead cottonmouth hybrids.
Well, yeah, I mean, and those only happen in captivity.
But that one seems way more likely to happen in the wild than this, though, or even in captivity, just because they're the same genus. I don't know.
Okay, so there is a ton of conjecture on that snake. I read it because when I saw it, I started reading about it. Hey, hang on, I gotta stop. My realtor's calling me.
Go ahead, Christina. Yeah, we have a guest coming. They will be here shortly, so we're just going through some of the stuff on here. So we'll come back to that. This was funny. There's a little video of a turtle giving an alligator a high five. Did you see this one, Katie?
Yes, I thought it was cute.
That was funny. Go over see that one. Toad versus frog. I didn't look at this. All toads are frogs, which is like all tortoises are turtles, but not all frogs are toad, which is like not all turtles are tortoises. Toads, they have. I'm not gonna read normally they're bumpy. Frogs are smooth. Yada yada yada. Oh, this is one. I'll save it for Robert.
Oh yeah,
the freaking direwolf stuff. Anybody in the chat, if you want to chime in on they're bringing back direwolves. I'm in the camp of no, they fucking didn't. They just brought back a wolf that we already had with a few extra genes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it has everybody going. They're bringing back all the, and my kids are like, look, can they bring back dinosaurs? I'm like, no, you can't bring back dinosaurs. We don't have dinosaur DNA.
Our kid would die if they brought dinosaurs back.
Well, yeah, they would. Everybody would die. I've seen Jurassic Park. They all die.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Okay, so that should have been our question.
What?
We should make that a question on the discussion board.
For what?
If they opened a real life Jurassic Park, would you go?
Yeah, we're all going.
I'm not.
But bullshit.
No.
Bullshit. You'd still go.
No.
I'd go. I'd seen the movies and I'd still go.
No.
If I had a chance to see a dinosaur in real life, 100%. I guarantee 100% of the people in the chat right now would.
I don't think I can.
I may not be house hunting anymore.
Sweet.
That's exciting.
That one with the awesome back patio. Just they have a couple things I gotta send them, but it sounds like it might be a good to go.
Hell yeah,
That's
that'd be awesome.
Exciting.
All right, Robert, the direwolf thing. We didn't talk about it.
I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast where he had what's the dude's name? The guy who owned that company, or is like the principal of that company. And yeah, I mean, it's not a dire wolf. It is a gray wolf with edited genes.
Yeah.
But it has all the dire wolf characteristics. So it is a gray wolf that has every visible characteristic of a dire wolf.
It's a mutt.
It's pretty freaking cool though, man. And the shit they're doing with like the woolly mice using, and they got some stuff that if it happens the way they're saying it's going to.
The problem is some of this stuff doesn't need to happen. Like, we don't need to bring back woolly mammoths because we're not in the same temperature range as when woolly mammoths were alive.
That's true.
So they say that Siberia, where they have secured like 500,000 acres in Siberia to be able, if they are able to bring them back, to be able to put them, is the same climate as what they lived in.
But the problem is, it have a food source for them?
Yeah, for sure. They're not carnivores.
No, I know, but I just wonder if it's the same foods. I don't know. But see, Jeff said he'd go, Katie. Robert, if they built a Jurassic Park, would you go?
Fuck yeah.
See, told you. We've seen the movies. We know the warnings. We're all still fucking going.
Well, see, part of it too is we think of woolly mammoth and we're thinking like dinosaur time.
No, I know.
4,000 years ago. I mean,
it was when the pyramids were being built.
Yeah, that's nothing compared in the history of the world.
Yeah, no, I know. That's when the last woolly mammoth died, when the pyramids were being built.
Right.
Time frame for yeah. See, Kyle said he'd go. All of us are going if they built a Jurassic Park, Katie. You're the oddball out.
Yep, I sure am.
I don't have to look. I don't have to be fast. I'll go with Robert. I'll just kick him in the knee and let a velociraptor eat him while I get away.
I'm faster than you fucking think I am, and I'm sneaky, and I've actually been in fights.
I'm not gonna fight. I'm just like, hey, Robert, watch it, and then hit you in the knee and go. I'm gone.
Yeah,
and I'll tell great stories.
Point, all you have to do is like get a stiff breeze on this fucking knee, and I'm on the ground.
Just be like, I'll tell great stories. Like, Robert saved me. He jumped in front of the velociraptor for me.
Yep.
He's a hero.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell the story.
Are you gonna write ballads in his honor?
As long as you don't have cameras there to see it. Oh, there was this picture of this gecko licking his eye with a dick.
Oh.
That tongue looks very dick-like.
Oh my gosh.
Darth Vader head. Hey, did you see that that Gengar I sent a little while ago?
I did. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they have a bunch of them that open because that's what everybody always asks. Do they open? Do they open? I found some that do.
Kyle, it doesn't matter if I warn Robert about the murder plot. I still know his knees aren't getting better between now and then. I'm good. I'll go with him and I'll go with my dad. Both their knees suck.
What if I have knee surgery and lose 150 pounds between now and then?
Then I'm finding a different friend to go to the Jurassic Park with. Oh, this is funny. So this is a back and forth thing that Nathan had posted that they found. Whether it's true or not, it's just funny. This is and it's funny because I've been asked lately about snake prices online. It says, person asking, what's the lowest you'll take? This person says, lowest I'll go with 700. And they say 200. And he goes, sure, why not? Okay, where do you want to meet? And he gives them an address, tells them to be there in an hour. Guy says, sounds good. It says, hey, I'm here. Tells them to go, cool, go inside. He goes, into the comedy club? He goes, yeah. Then head up on stage and tell your jokes to somebody else, which I thought was hilarious.
That one's been around for a long time, and I love that one.
That's a good one. So I saw this. These are my favorite Coke machines because I like the choose your own Coke ones. But it's funny, the one hole per beverage Coke or the unholy drink cloaca machine. If you're not a reptile or bird person, that meme doesn't make any sense to you. Oh, our guest is here. I'm gonna close this out and go. Maybe if I can find the mouse. There it is. All right, let's get to our guest who's traveling.
This is not safe. You should not be on a video call with us. No,
we're gonna make it. Okay. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
So everybody, our guest tonight is Chris Dieter from Crocodile.
You said traveling, and I looked up from my phone. And I was like, wow.
It's a beautiful afternoon.
It is really pretty outside.
I apologize for the lateness. My son, their team made the baseball playoffs in high school, and they're having a gathering, and so we had to do two things at one here. Yeah, so
Oh, I don't even want to talk about our schedule for the next month because we had 2 more things that added to this calendar today. And I'm like, no, we have no more free time.
Makes life interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, kids suck.
Yeah, I only have 1 kid though. Like, I don't know how parents with multiples do this. And I sure don't know how my mom with 4 did it because, gosh.
You just sacrifice. Isn't that the name of the game?
Yes.
I refuse.
Yes. I'm eating ramen for the next week so she can have the shoes she wants for this sneaker ball that she's going to.
Well, you eat ramen. I eat actual food. I'm good.
I know.
Oh, how's it going, Chris?
It is doing outstanding. Couldn't be any better.
So the weather's getting really nice now for the zoo.
Oh, it's been fantastic. We've been doing just really, really great tours. We got, all the crocs are back outside, and it's just been, it's really kind of the best time of the year in a lot of ways, So lots of people, and all the schools are in, and then you got all the animals just moving around. It's starting mating season. I mean, the crocodiles start laying eggs here soon, and it's really a great time of year.
And if it rains when you're on your field trip, he's super awesome about rescheduling too. Our poor second graders. Our second graders were so sad when they came back to school. And I saw them and I was like, you didn't beat the rain today. And they were like, we didn't get to see hardly anything. And I'm like, well, maybe you'll get to go back. And so they're going back like the last week of school.
Yeah, they did. What's funny is when you get these schools, I mean, they're all kind of personality dependent on the teachers. Because we'll have some of them will call and they'll say, hey, there's a 20% chance of rain. Should we come? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's 20% chance of rain. It's not even going to be an issue. Then you have other ones that be like, it looks like it's 80% chance of rain and there's a chance of a hurricane. But we're coming. We're coming. Yeah. It's just a little bit of water,
Our teachers were like, it'll pass. It'll pass. We'll get there. It'll be fine. We can still do it. Because we were testing on campus that day. So that was why they picked that day for the field trip. And they didn't want to have to keep them still and quiet in their classrooms. And it was.
No, they really made a good call. And honestly, I thought it was going to be okay. And then it's one, segue into this one thunderstorm just happened and they failed. So,
but I was like, well, it's okay. So
they come, they go.
Oh yeah. That's when I did field trips at the zoo. It was all the time. Or I'd be like, oh, it's raining. Come on, we'll do your education program early and let's cram into this building.
When I worked at the zoo, I'd have other zookeepers that worked with me so we had zookeepers that worked at our zoo that did not grow up as
zoo people,
wanting to be zoo people, right? They just kind of, because it was a city run zoo and those city jobs, and they got them in. Anyways. And they'd be like, why are people here when it's raining? I was like, because you did not grow up as a child like me. If I was visiting a city or a town that had a zoo, I'm only there for that day. Mm-hmm. I'll be there in the pouring rain because I can only be at that zoo for that day.
I'll be honest, I didn't become that person until I married you.
Yeah, I'll go to any zoo in pouring down rain. Well,
it's really not that bad. Honestly, the crowds are usually a lot less. Like we have, it's the Europeans that do this a lot at our facility. Because just like you, they're only here for so long. They want to come see alligators and stuff like that, and so they don't care if it's raining. I mean, it always blows my mind that when they're there, but they'll come out regardless, So.
And the good thing at a lot of zoos, I mean, not Chris, everything's outside, but a lot of zoos, the reptile house is inside, so I didn't care for
it. So it didn't matter to you. Good. See, we did a lot of museums and stuff, so the stuff that we did was indoor stuff. So it didn't matter if it was raining a little outside.
So have you ever thought about doing like an indoor, like snake house, lizard house type place on your property?
Yeah, we've kicked it around quite a few times actually, and came really close to doing it once or twice. It's just, the logistics of it are the way we're set up is when you look at the people who come to visit us, they come to see the crocodile. So everything else that we do is just kind of like filler around that. And it just, when you do the dollars and cents of what it, and you can actually do, we actually came up with it. It really wasn't that expensive. And I think at some point we probably will, but we kind of about 2 years ago just said anything that we're doing is taken away from any kind of crocodile work is just something we're going to really pause,
Yeah.
And we've kind of reshuffled our collection in this regard over the last 2 years also, because I mean, I don't really know, what people, if they follow weather, but our weather is just, it's bonkers. I mean, in between the amount of, you can either be so dry or you get so wet, and then you get, really warm in the summer, which we've always had for the most part. But then, we have these big winter drops, that we get. And so, when we're not a big city zoo, so just everything that you do that pulls away from the care for the animals that that are your primary focus is just I felt that we were starting to drift a little far. Like I was spending an inordinate amount of time on hoof stock, which I love, but I just didn't feel that. I decided I want to take us back a little bit to our roots, so to speak. So because if you're a guy like me, you just like animals. You like all the animals, So and so we made a lot of adjustments and also we changed some animals like hoofstock where they just don't do so good in a more moist climate. So after 20 years, we moved our eland herd, and which was pretty rough. But we brought in animals that are much better suited to our climate: Barasinga, Pierre David, those type of animals that are just they do better down here on the Gulf Coast. So it's been pretty successful. So. But yeah, long answer. Did we freeze?
It looks like they froze. Yeah. Can you hear me still, Chris?
Yeah, I'm back now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
There we go.
us.
It's us.
Yeah.
It could be the fact I'm about to hit the freeway. we may have a few moments of interruption. So, what's the last thing you heard?
You were talking about the
you
hoof
never
stock.
froze, Chris. Only
You
they
never
did.
froze.
Oh yeah, no, you're
It was
fine.
us.
It was us.
Yeah.
Oh,
We heard you talking about the hoof stock that you've added, and I know I added that you got water buck in there because I know you got water buck, right? No, yes.
yeah, we've had
Yeah.
a herd of water buck, but we just let that herd keep growing. So I mean, there's like a dozen of them back there now instead of just a couple. So they're actually my favorite antelope. They always have been. So
Is that the goofy looking ones? Yeah, look like big deer, like swamp deer.
Yeah.
they got a big old like toilet seat on their rear end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're real attractive. I mean, they're really, really good. But yeah, they breed real well down here. They're parasite resistant. They just they do real good. So
Then you
they do real
think
good.
when you see them, they're bigger than I thought they were when I saw them up close.
Oh yeah, big bull water bug. He's a pretty big guy. They're pretty sizable. So as far as that goes,
Didn't I see y'all moved? Is it false Orioles y'all have?
yeah, we have the false Orioles at Temissima. We moved. They're outside for the first time. We still have like 8 of them indoors, but we moved our first 2 outside.
I haven't been. I need to come out there. Where are they at now on the ground? Where outside are they?
They are right dead center in the facility, like right in the middle.
So is that like
So
where the those Cubans used to be?
They're right to the right of the Cubans, yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. Actually, yes. The older pair of Cubans we had, they're in that enclosure. Yeah, that's exactly
Gotcha.
where they're at.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they're doing really good. The staff came and told me they got them to eat off of tongs for the first time outside yesterday. So that was pretty exciting. Yeah,
And they're
so
a big crocodilian. They're a big crocodilian full grown, right?
Oh yeah, they'll get 14, 15 feet. I mean, if you ever see a really big Temissima, it's a pretty impressive sight to actually see. So,
are they naturally mostly fish eaters like gharials are, or?
that used to be the thought, but they've actually a pretty varied diet. They eat everything from fish to monkeys,
Really?
and they really like to eat a lot of birds as far as that goes. But so they'll do that. We feed ours everything. I feed them a lot of rodents, and then we give them some chicken for the birds. They eat the Missouri pellet and everything like that, and so they're fun. They're super pretty.
Jeff in the chat asked if you work with Bruce
Schwedick. Now he's in Florida. I mean, I know Bruce. I've known him for a long time, but we don't really do much with him.
Gotcha. I've never, other than seeing your Temistas, I've never really seen him. When we were at the zoo, we had the only kind of odd one that I don't really see that often. We had the slender snout crocs. We had one.
Yeah, cataphractus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had those for a while. And, they're pretty neat. They're shyer than Temistoma. Temistoma are kind of interesting because we have 10. So you kind of get to see some personalities. We have 2 that are pretty shy and they hide. And then we have 1 whose name is Destroyer. And so you kind of can understand that he is not amongst the shy ones. So, I mean, they'll run right to you. And so they're pretty interesting. They have personalities just like every other crocodilian. So it's kind of neat. But they're a really pretty animal. I mean, as far as that goes.
How are the those golden Niles doing? That one that you said was a girl but seemed to be acting like a boy.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. He is a male. We're a sex team, so we don't know what he was going on there. But they're doing really good, and we've been seeing really good growth from them. We found out that they're weak, though. They're not. The gene makes them weak as far as that goes. So they're kind of like, and my friends in Africa, they've been finding the same thing. So they were telling us about it, and they said once they get to be about 6 or 7 feet, they tend to just die for no really apparent reason. Yeah, and so we've had that happen. Yeah, so we're not really sure why that is, and they're not really sure over there either. It's just like when you have like an albino Burmese python is not as strong as the natural color for whatever reason, that you get some kind of immune suppression as a combination with the gene, and it appears it's what happens here too. So. But once you get them over the hump, we haven't had any problem with them. So it's just kind of an interesting deal, So.
Jeff said could it be parthenogenesis? They die young. Those aren't partho babies. They're not
partho babies. It's got something to do with the immune system. Yeah. And it seems like it's probably, and this is just pure speculation, whenever they come into like that size level, they're probably for the first time becoming sexually active, and it may have something to do with the hormones kicking in, putting stress on them, and that's just a focal point. But that's a pure speculation. But it's just weird. It happens at roughly that same size on 2 different continents. So
males and females.
Yeah, we've seen it on both sides.
For everybody listening, so. What we're talking about is it's basically like the caramel albino or T positive version of albino in these Niles. They're like this golden color. They're really pretty. And they definitely stick out. When you put them in there with normal Niles, they stick out.
Yeah, so we have 2 of them. Well, actually, all 3 of the ones we have outside right now are in with regular, Nile crocodile coloration. And it's astounding how the public picks up on them because they appear in like every social media post from anybody who comes out here. They're unbelievably popular, in that regard. So. Yeah,
when the sun hits them, they are bright.
We have one named Ramses. That's the most beautiful animal I think I've ever seen. It's just so clean. The yellow coloration. It's just like a highlighter. It's just nuts.
So we were talking about weather really earlier, and I was thinking to myself earlier today, what stresses you out the most throughout the year? Because we do have weird weather. So like there are times when I know you're dealing with, we're going weeks and weeks without rain, or there's times where we're dropping down the cold temperatures, but I feel like you've got the winter stuff figured out pretty well. And then we also have hurricane seasons. So what gives you the biggest headache at the Crocodile Zoo?
It's winter for sure. Even with all we've done, it's going to be the winter because at best, when it comes to winter, you're always just mitigating a terrible scenario. And, and I always tell people, the animal's not supposed to be here in the first place. So everything you're doing is super unnatural. Like when you're in the summer, and even if we have periods of drought, I could pump water, as much water as we need. And the heat, where they're from in Africa, it gets way warmer than we get here even. And so that's, it's just fine. And then you got of course, no one likes hurricanes. Hurricanes hit your wallet more than it bothers the animals because and we've made a lot of changes in the park since the last hurricane because the barrel was just unbelievably damaging to our facility. It was just brutal. And so we rebuilt And every time we rebuild now, we're doing everything blow through. We're not using anything. We're using heavy wire and blow through. It's just because I'm not doing it anymore. I'm getting too old to do this nonsense. So,
I'm telling you, the wind, that was the craziest wind I've ever been in any hurricane in my entire life.
yeah, the thing is, it was only like, what was it, a 2 or a 1 or something? And it wasn't like we've been through.
Whatever they say, I disagree with. It was a 4. I don't give a shit.
We've been through bigger winds, but that particular one, I guess we just caught the right edge of it because it was unbelievable amount of damage. So, but the winter, it's far worse than all of it. I mean, it's just when you keep a lot of big crocodilians and you have a place where it's going to snow, you know, there is almost no way to fully mitigate against that. And although when you throw enough money at it, you can make it happen. So this year I'm having a boiler built that pumps out the water back into the pond at 120 degrees. And I think when we do this, we'll be able to do whatever we need to do. So.
Well, and it's tricky here because you never know when winter's done. Like,
yeah, that's the other thing. That's exactly right. So
I think it's done, and then 3 weeks later, it's back into freezing again.
Well, this weekend the lows are in the upper 60s.
Yeah.
So. Because it's supposed to rain real bad at the end of the week and then drop down in the 60s at night.
But you know, the animals are a lot. I mean, people like when you keep captive herps and you're keeping them in a terrarium or you're keeping them in your house, people don't really learn what the animal can actually do. And when you keep them outdoors, you really understand what they're capable of doing. Because like where they're from in Africa, it gets freezing over there. They go down to freezing temperatures in Africa. So the temperature in and of itself is only one factor. There's like a lot of mitigating factors to it. Like if you have a day when it's sunny and 45 degrees out, it's not even anything to worry about. The ground temperatures are going to be, you're going to have 70-some degree ground temperatures. But the days that are rough on them, if you have like a stretch of like 4 or 5 days where you're going to have like a high of like 40 or 42 and it's no sun and all cloudy. So then you got to wait to you're relying on your water temperature then. And then if you throw precipitation on top of that, your water temperature can drop, you know, but as a general rule, water's a heat trap. And so, you know, you got to safeguard there all the time until it snows.
I say the snowstorm that we had that lasted like 3 days or whatever of snow on the ground.
Yeah. And then when the snow melts, you know, you get all that ice water pouring into your ponds. So you have to mitigate against that. You either have to pour your animal or you have to heat the water. So it's really the only 2 options you have. Otherwise, you can have mass casualties because they're not gonna survive the cold water dump into the enclosures like at that level. So
I mean, obviously you have to do hands-on to do it, but I will say that your winter housing in those concrete bunkers with all the insulation are amazing. For anybody that's never seen it, it's just they're these heated buildings, but once you're in there, like they're pretty much temperature controlled once you're in there.
Oh yeah, they're good. Once they're inside, I mean, they're fine for the duration. I mean, until you want to bring them back outside, you know, as far as that goes. But yeah, we don't ever have any issues when they're indoors. You know, that's why we did it. But what's funny is years ago I used to use a boiler on ponds. But it was a wood burning boiler that we were using, so we were constantly throwing wood in them all the time, and so that was way too labor intensive. So that's why we built the buildings, just so we wouldn't have to bother with it anymore. But now I'm kind of going to go back and reverse course, and so the boiler that I have being designed, it pumps incredible amounts of water, super hot, but we're running it off of natural gas, so we don't have to worry about wood anymore. So.
That's going to be nice not have to shift full-grown Orinoco's into a building.
Well, I'd probably tell you, we removed all of our Orinoco's. We don't have them anymore.
I knew you were going to at some point. I knew they were leaving at some point.
Yeah, that's one of the shifts I was telling you about earlier because we just decided to dedicate it to Mistema, and they're going to be really big, and we have a lot of them. And there's a lot of places now. Gladys Porter, Dallas Fort Aquarium, they've been real successful in their Orinoco projects. So there's more Orinoco's out and about than there ever has been. And so when we first got into Orinoco's 15 years ago, I mean, there was like, I think only 40 in the United States total. And so they were starting to get really big. And so we threw our hat in the ring and said, okay, we'll house these for however long. We ended up having like 14 of the 40 at one point. And then just gradually over time, they farmed out to other places and such like that. We lost a couple along the way, but they've been mostly shipped out to other facilities. And the last ones just went a couple days, about 2 weeks ago, actually.
I will say the Dallas World Aquarium was the first time I think I ever saw Orinoco's, and those are impressive in there.
Oh, they're beautiful animals. Beautiful and big, and there's nothing. I really enjoyed the decade and a half we did with them. It was, but like the Temistoma are kind of like in the place where the Orinoco's were 15 years ago, to where there's been a couple successful breedings of them, and the numbers that are in zoos. Because what happens is that the zoos, everybody would like to put some nice small animals on display, so you get the 2 to 5 foot animals be on display. And so, like I said, the Temistoma, once that animal gets to the 6 to 8 foot range, they're going, "Oh, what are we gonna do with this thing now?" Or we have too many of them. We need to move them around, and so they'll do that, and then that's where we come in there. So I try to help where we can, and so I just felt with all the Orinoco's that were out there, that it was time for us to go to a place more of need.
Yeah.
So there we are.
So you said things are gonna be laying eggs soon. What are there things you're looking for? Because I know you get a lot of eggs during breeding season that you don't end up hatching. But is there anything this year you're like, oh man, I'm really looking forward to these hatching? I don't think it's us this time.
No.
No.
And do I got you?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, I just pulled up my driveway, so I'm having my phone switched to our Wi-Fi, and so it's still the roaming thing. But so the Chinese have been mating, and so we really very much would like to have them go ahead and breed this year. So I'm hopeful, because he was a dud male last year, so I'm kind of hoping it works out. The St. Augustine Alligator Farm is told us they had a nest of Nile crocodile eggs, and so they asked us if we would, so they would be responsible if we would take them if they'd hatch some of them. And so if we take some of theirs, I'm probably not going to hatch any of our Nile crocs this year. I'll just use that bloodline alone.
So you're really running low on Niles last time I was there.
So I'll just go ahead and just use theirs, so.
That's just get rid of the hoof stock, build that into a giant pond out there, and just fill it with Niles.
I think ultimately that may be what happens there. We're talking about, I'll tell you, I'm going to get back over here, 'cause I can hear better in the car. But this will be your first car. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, no.
Did you just lock yourself out?
I just locked myself out of my own car.
Oh,
Shit.
Yes, I did.
spare key inside?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, no.
My key is most definitely in the vehicle.
Oh, God. This is what happens. This is why you should not be on the phone while driving, people.
I don't even know how that happened.
You were distracted.
I don't even know.
Oh, my Lord.
I don't take ownership of that. That's all him. I don't think it was like.
Your fault, James.
And here's the thing. I don't know where the spare key is for that car either, because like we just got that car. I have absolutely no idea where the spare key is for that car. I think my son has it.
Oh.
So I'm just going to come around to the back door.
Oh, my goodness.
Dude, I locked the key in the car. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Anyways.
There's your drama for the day.
If that's the only drama I had to deal with today, God, this would have been a good day. There are 18 days left, and some of these kids think that they don't have to do anything for the next 18 days, and it is hard for them. Because I don't quit working until there's only 2 days left.
Hey, hang loose. I'm going to switch over to my computer. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Go through some more of the Facebook stuff
Yeah.
while we wait. Oh my gosh, poor
I can figure out
guy.
where my mouse ran away to. Yeah, I'm gonna remove him from there for now, and we'll bring him back in a second.
No.
St. Louis Zoo and this Robert posted this one a while back, had a Aldabra pass. That's sad.
Mm-hmm. That was funny.
Lizards look at snakes and be like, "Hey, Lieutenant Dan."
Oh, that was funny.
That's funny. And my mom lost a leg. I can laugh at that.
Give them your update on your mom for the week.
Oh, update on my mom. So she's going home tomorrow. They took all the stuff off on her right arm. It's still got plates in there. She can't bend the wrist, but that's great. They took all the stitches out of her left arm. But that's all got bandages on it still. But that's the left arm will be a while before it's healed because she broke everything in there.
And the elbow.
And the elbow. Yeah, she broke that whole thing from wrist to femur. But no, she gets to go home tomorrow, and they got all the stuff delivered, like the medical equipment for the house.
From what?
What?
From wrist
to femur, not femur.
I was saying
Femurus.
femur's in your leg.
Well, I mean that too. If
You don't have that one
if you hold
anymore.
your hand up, it does work that way. It is wrist to femur.
Oh my god.
Humorous. Anyways, and then they'll be building the ramp, I think, this Saturday on the house, so they can get in and out of the house. Lowe's is donating all of the lumber for the ramp.
With their
Heroes program.
Their hero program.
The hero program. My dad and mom both used to work for Lowe's, and my mom is a veteran. And so the local Lowe's there is going to donate all the lumber. And then the motorcycle group that my dad is a part of, the veterans motorcycle group, is going to come out and they're going to build the ramp for them.
They have a guy in the group. This is what one of the things he does with his construction company.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. Let's see what else got posted on here. There's a snake eating some. Oh, there's a little shingleback lizard. Shingleback skink. I want a shingleback skink. A little turd with legs.
Everybody wants one, but they're few and far between, and when you find them, they're really expensive.
Really expensive. So if anybody wants to steal me one, feel free. Oh, there's Chris. Let me go ahead and we'll come back to this stuff later. Dun, 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 dun. There he is. We got you now.
Okay. Sorry for the excitement of the car and the travel.
I just hope he has a key for you.
I also hope that he has a key for me.
Oh.
It is my hope that, in fact, he doesn't have a key. I think he does because he borrowed it the other day, but his room is such a disaster that if there's one in there, it may not be real helpful to me anyway. So I don't know. So
you're talking about hopefully having Chinese alligators. So hopefully that works out.
Yes.
I'm actually taking KP, the Chinese alligator, to school next week. We've been doing talking about reptiles. We're talking about classification. We did reptiles. I'm taking him, blue tongue, snake, and a tortoise, and we're gonna do a little comparison. I told Katie normally I only get to take a lizard, a snake, and a tortoise, and we compare those. But like this year, I get to take an alligator to compare. So we're excited about that.
For sure.
We I think what I may do is I may start a program at my school where teachers can borrow class pets for a couple of weeks or whatever.
Where were we? There's a program somewhere
There
like
is.
that.
And Chris, they do a program with some schools in Pearland, ISD.
Yeah, we do Crocs in the classroom with a lot of them. But Sci-Fair has done that exact same thing for decades.
Yeah.
They call it the Living Materials Center.
Yeah, because we met the woman that was in charge of that at one point.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a couple districts in the Houston area that do it. But Sci-Fair, it's been probably almost 30 years ago now that I went up there. They used to let a teacher come in, take the whole setup. They'd have the tank, everything, and they would get it for a set period of time, and then they would. I guess it's probably still there. I mean,
I think it is because I want to say a couple years back, you and I met the woman who's in charge of that program, and they'd deliver the animals.
My guinea pig in my classroom is very vocal, and she has a tendency when you rattle paper or a plastic bag or snack to let you know that she needs you to share with her. And so during STAR testing, that's not really the best to have in the classroom. So for 2 weeks, she has been down in our pre-K class, and I had a child almost cry when went and got her yesterday to bring her back upstairs to 4th grade. I felt
make kids cry.
horrible.
That's my teaching.
I felt awful. And because they also borrowed the box turtle when they were learning about turtles. So my box turtle was down there. So now the kids are like, is she going to bring the snake? Do we get the snake next? And their teacher's like, nope, that one stays upstairs, guys. Sorry.
I used to keep so much stuff in my classroom. It was a lot. I remember one time we had 55 Podonemus uniphilus in there that were confiscated by Fish and Wildlife. And so I just set up some big waterland tubs in the classroom. we had like 55 of these little rare turtles in there. It was a total crazy scene.
I don't trust kids enough nowadays to keep anything in my room. Like, look, I was gone for 2 weeks because of my mom's accident. And I would have been like, there's no way I'd have felt safe having the animals there.
Yeah, no. And
then while we were gone for spring break, they fumigated our building for rats.
Yeah.
So
we never had any issues with it. That we really never did. I mean, while the other teachers probably had issues with me sometimes because we had like so many animals. Like the smells emanating from there was like literally like the zoo world in there. And
my first school, I used to have a snake and a gecko and some stuff in there, and it was fine. Kids have changed a lot since then.
Yeah, it was funny because one of the kindergarten teachers was like, so could we just borrow her when we learn about animals? And I was like, we can discuss it. And like, I know this pre-K teacher really well, and she has a background with small animals. So I knew my guinea pig was safe with her. And she also was up high enough that none of those little 4-year-old hands could reach her. So there's that.
So what you need to do is find a way to write a grant somewhere for somebody to pay for you to have a large collection of rentable animals.
To get more. That's a good idea for the Education Foundation grants.
Yeah, you'll do it. It's a good idea. Those things are constantly being used out there,
Yeah. And because they originally wanted a frog, and I couldn't.
You can easily set up a ton of like crested geckos. Those are super easy to take.
Well, it would be great. I think it would be really great to even have the animals that they learn about, because different grade levels learn about different animals.
I think that's what they were doing in Sci-Fair. They were just matching the animals up to whatever was being taught, and like that. It was really
guinea pigs are cute. Like, I'm never gonna do hamsters ever. I think hamsters are horrible class pets.
I don't like getting bit by hamsters.
I think guinea pigs are far superior than that.
First time a hamster bites me, it becomes snake food.
Yeah. Like lizards but I think having a couple frogs would be cool.
I remember speaking of snake food hamsters, I remember when Walmart used to sell hamsters. So like in the early 90s when they still sold hamsters and parakeets. And the guy in there knew that we owned a snake, and we went in there and goes, "Hey, y'all want free food?" And we're like, "Sure." He goes, "We got a hamster we can't sell because every time we reach in there, it bites us." They gave us a free hamster to take home, and that thing lasted about 2 seconds with our red tail.
When I was teaching, it was really great because we kept some Argentine horned frogs in the classroom, and like the kids just love to bring stuff in to feed them because they literally eat everything. If it moves, they were going to eat it. So they were just, whatever they were bringing in, we were feeding, and it was just the interest in it. They were just really super into it. It was really pretty fun as far as that goes.
So Jeff in the chat just said that they had a bunny in 3rd grade, but students would take home a stuffed animal to learn to care for the rabbit instead of the actual animal. Do you remember when our child was in pre-K and
the cat?
They had Pete the cat?
Oh my God.
And
fucking dog destroyed that.
Her teacher, because I worked at the school, her teacher was like, "Hey, what are y'all doing over Christmas break?" And I'm like, we've got like 7 different places we're going to. And she's like, "Y'all are going to get Pete for Christmas break." Our dog ate it. We bought another one because like the whole left ear was destroyed. Our kid is 14 and still has Pete the cat with the destroyed left ear because I replaced it to send a new one back. But we had to take photographs of it, and she had to write a journal about it, and we had to do a photo. We did a 17-day journal with that stuffed animal. Yeah. And then they get to like share all of the experiences with their class on Monday.
I'm just thinking with what Jeff said. So you can do a program where you rent out an animal. Mm-hmm. I can 3D print little versions of that animals for the kids to have.
Yeah.
Every part of the cost.
That's cute.
Oh, great idea to start right here. This is how it all gets going.
I just gotta find a grant to pay for all this stuff.
I can write one for Education Foundation.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And every year they're like, you are so creative. You need to write a grant for something. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to write a grant for? I don't need anything. This is what I'm going to write a grant for.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So every time we have professional development at Shadow Creek, 1 year Nile crocodiles are there. And we're always in that room, and everybody's always like, "Oh, look at the Nile crocodile!" And I can't get excited anymore because I'm like, "Yeah, I got Chinese alligator at home. I don't think that's cool." There's a
We
Chinese
made
alligator
it
in my
49
kitchen,
minutes,
so-
guys. 49 minutes this week. Last
That's
week
pretty
we
good.
made it like an
Pretty good. I haven't
hour,
really-
48 minutes.
I haven't really
before
mentioned
he got
KP, and Chris has been on the entire time. So I'm just,
I know. I saw your face when he said something about Chinese alligators earlier. That I was like, "Fuck, he's about to mention it."
Chinese house. The little bastard barks at me every time he wants
He
food.
is so funny. He got to
They're
where
great.
because I fed him while you were out of town when you were up in Tennessee with your mom. So it got to where when I would come in the kitchen, he would swim over to the corner and just stare at me. And I'm like, dude, I literally fed you an hour ago. You don't need anything else.
You know what's
But-
interesting about Chinese alligators is that, and I hate to even say it out loud because it sounds so ungrateful, but I just, they're kind of like, I just walk by them all the time at our place, and I don't really, but I just in the last 2 weeks, I told one of my staff members, I says, I'm going to make an effort to appreciate these much more.
He is such a derpy alligator.
They're cool.
Like,
They're
he
really
is
cool, you know.
But he's so
goofy.
he's so vocal. Like he
Yeah.
makes
They are.
a lot of noises.
He does. It's really cool. I kind of want to, and I was actually really glad we had you on. I want to get one of those swimming pools
No, I've got a tub for him. Remember that tub that I used
for the
to transfer?
backyard.
I used to transfer tortoises.
Yeah, I can
wanna take
work on my
myself.
suntan while he
They're
swims in
really
a
cool on
pool.
that. Yeah, I've taken the last couple of weeks. I've been going back and hand feeding all of ours. You know, instead of just throwing pellets to them, I've been taking them back and
Ours won't eat pellets.
ours will eat pellets. Ours like pellets a lot.
Oh,
Somebody is spoiled now.
He liked pellets until I gave him mice, and then he realized he could just not eat.
and James will freak out, and then he'll eat.
I didn't freak out. I went like 3 weeks. I was like, dude.
He was panicking.
And I was like, all right, I guess it's just
because
mice.
he wasn't eating, and he's like, I gotta
we
get
feed
some
ours a
skinny.
lot of mice too. We give ours a lot of mice as far as
He
that
likes
goes.
chicken hearts a lot.
I'll give him chicken hearts is a good way for me to give him some calcium because I can
Yeah,
put little
because we
calcium
put the
pills down in
calcium
them.
in the chicken
Yeah.
heart.
Chicken hearts, by the way, anybody want are awesome pill pockets. You don't have to go buy those pill pockets for dogs. Chicken hearts, you can shove a pill down in the heart, and they hold a pill really well. For anybody that's wondering,
Well, and all your colubrids like them too, right?
I did. I fed chicken hearts to my corn snakes. I fed them. I had the carpet python eat them. I had some.
Box turtle.
But I had some sand boas eat them. I had the rosy boas eat them. The tortoises freaking love the chicken hearts. The blue tongue loves chicken hearts.
Do you ever feed mice to tortoises?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh god,
The
that's
redfoot
they
lose
love
their
them. Redfoots,
mind.
yeah, they love
Holy
them.
moly.
It's really something else.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Redfoots love anything that's meat.
they do. They do.
So I was thinking earlier, we didn't mention it. We talked about all the like when winter comes and the tortoises. What about the crocodiles? But what about your giant sulcata farm you got going on there? What do you do?
We
What
put them
is
in.
all-
They have a barn and it's heated floor, and we just kick it on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we are going to build a new Darber barn this winter, though. For this winter, we'll build it sometime in the fall, but because they're getting to size now where we don't want to move them in and out anymore because they're getting to where you can't really. You know, everything's nice when it's easy to lift and put in a wheelbarrow, but now when they get outside the wheelbarrow size, it really is.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not
So
that
when you do
enjoyable.
projects like that, do y'all do them yourselves? Do you have groups that come in and help volunteer? Do you
No,
just
I
hire
usually
somebody?
I pay contractors to do it. We do, we just pay to do it. It'd be nice if we had that, but honestly, I like the people that build our stuff, and they'd always
Yeah.
do it exactly like we want it. And so,
Yeah, you don't have to worry about specifics. You know, it's going to be, yeah, that's
and,
cool.
and this isn't too big of a deal. It's really just, basically a square with a concrete floor that we're gonna have some heaters in. At the end of the day, it's really not. This is a very easy project. So.
Yeah, that was so when I worked with El Dabras, our big guy was about 500 pounds, and they just do whatever the fuck they want. There's no moving. them.
Yeah, you can't really. It's honestly, it's a lot easier to move a lot of crocs than it is some of these big tortoises. The tortoises, just the manpower involved is just. So bottom line is, we're not going to really bother with it this year. We're just going to let them walk in and shut them down. So
I like that ours, the bunker that you had for them.
Or for the sulcatas at our house.
They really had gotten to the point where like the sun would start to set and they would just mosey into their
yeah,
bunker
they do
night.
every night. I mean, they will go
Yeah.
in that barn every single night. I mean, it's not even a doubt about it. I mean, they're going to make their way over there and get in there and everything. And what's really interesting with the Eldabras is we found that they're this is another thing, you know, most people put them inside like when, I don't know, 60 degrees, whatever. But ours stay outside, and we've let them this year. We've tested them a little bit, even down to 45, and they get up and they're even active quicker than the sulcata, which totally surprises me. And we have not had a single problem with them at all, ever.
That's awesome.
I think a lot of it has to do with too, like just, you know, like I said, there's a lot of conditions with it. It's not just that temperature. If it's a sunny day, you know, they're getting their body temperature up, and you know that kind of. Plus, that animal is built to collect heat.
I say they're dark. Yeah,
you almost have to worry about them overheating more than anything else, because they're just built to collect heat.
I never even thought about having to worry about them overheating before. That makes sense, though.
I mean, they're an island species, so I
Yeah.
mean, it gets warm, but you on an island, you get breeze, and it doesn't get
so
hot like here.
They're interesting. I really like them. They're cool. I wouldn't mind having a couple more of those. I really don't want any more animals per se, but those ones I would consider. You know?
I was always more of an Aldabra fan over Galops. I've worked with both, and I've
Me
just
too.
found the personality of Aldabras was better.
I think so. Too. But yeah, it's kind of a subtle difference, but it's there.
How many sulcatas are you up to? Do you know?
I think it's 51.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they just get dropped off. You know, I mean, every year you get a set number of them just dropped off, and there they are. we actually have them in the facility, and we actually have some now off the facility on the 75-acre property that we have. We've now opened up like a secondary sulcata holding area over there. So
Was it? I don't remember if it was you or if it was Chris. We talked about the rental goats, like rent to mow your lawn, and we were like, we'll just rent out sulcatas.
They eat stuff that nothing else will eat.
Yeah,
I mean, they just plow.
Oh, ours did.
They'll either eat it or stomp it down to nothing.
At the one house that we had in Louisiana, it was a rental. And we actually would move every couple months. We would move their whole pen to a different part of the yard. It was when we had that rolling red barn that they stayed in, and we would move it because they would eat the grass all the way down.
Yeah, they're really pretty cool about it. But you know, we actually got a lot of eggs from just this week, and we don't really hatch them or anything like that. But we changed their diet about 2 years ago, and it just made them egg machines. Now they just blast constantly. I mean, it's just,
So I'm always and you've got a ton because of the reason they don't make good pets. Everybody doesn't want them after they get past 5 pounds. They're great pets if you have a situation like you or like I used to have, where you have a big enough yard and you can take care of them. But I'm always amazed when I hear people that have like the problems where their sulcata digs underneath the house or digs underneath there. I'm like,
that's how we get almost all of ours. Yeah, there's some from the digging up their yard. You know, it's usually what it is. So.
But you don't tend to have a problem with them digging at the zoo, right? Because they have a place to. I have found if they have a place to go, which is why like their bunker they had, if they had a place to go, they didn't feel the need to dig giant holes under a fence.
They can't really dig massive here because our clay soil just prevents it. I mean, they can get down. Like we have a couple digging pretty good burrow right now, but that's because we have an elevated area and they've kind of found that dirt and they're using it. But as a general rule, they really can't dig too far down here because the clay is just too heavy. But I've kind of come around a little bit too on the sulcatas as a thing. Like me and one of my people worked for me yesterday, Marcus. We were talking about this. I used to be really dead set on them not being sold because I thought they were just terrible pets. Just like we were just talking about, and they are terrible pets. For a lot of them are. But here's the thing. For about 20 years, everybody's been saying there's just going to be this tsunami of sulcatas and all these rescues, and it's just going to be tens of thousands of these things just everywhere. And there has been rescued. I mean, all of ours are rescue animals, but we have 51, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And I know, like Arizona out there, I know places has like several hundred of them out there as well. But if you're looking at the sheer volume of these things that are sold every year, that's really not that many, compared to a lot of other animals. People love their tortoises. They just do. They love their tortoises.
They're a horrible pet in the way that a goat or a horse is a horrible pet.
Yeah.
If you're not set up to keep a goat or a horse,
correct,
it's a horrible pet.
Yes.
If you're not set up to keep a sulcata, it's a horrible pet. But if you've got a yard and everything set up, they're super easy. Like mine at my old house, when I had them set up, they were easy to take care of.
Almost every single person that drops one off at us and says, "Oh, it's destroying my yard, whatever." But they always say, "Can I please come visit it?" They just people. Yeah. And so I just think, for most people, I think most people try to at least decently take care of the animal. I mean, just from the sheer volume that are produced out there. So I've kind of softened on it a little bit, but I still think they're a horrible animal and most people shouldn't have it. They should have a redfoot.
Yes. A redfoot is by far a better pet for most people and fit. Yeah. Or I wish that box turtles didn't have the regulations, because I think box turtles would be a great pet for people that just want a tortoise in their house, but it's a turtle, but it's like a tortoise and it fits in a 20-gallon or 40-gallon tank.
I always tell people, man, I think the Eastern box turtle is probably the single best investment in all of reptiles. And I really honestly believe that. I think it is, it is just such a phenomenal. And I wish I had my entire group back because I don't have it anymore. But I sold it off a decade ago. But that animal is the perfect storm of beauty, ease of care, and limited availability. I mean, it is just like literally on point for all of those things, and it's, and I remember I used to have a herd of about 150 of them.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I had a big herd. And then Tropical Storm Allison came, I forget even what year that was, and flooded the enclosure out. So I ended up losing like 30 of them. And I just got so frustrated. I ended up sending the rest of the group off to somebody else. But
that was like 2001, Chris.
Yeah, I did.
That was pre-9/11.
But I was breeding a lot of them, but we were selling them back then. It was like 3 for like 110, 120 or something like that. And in our group, man, they were so beautiful. These are like West Virginia box turtles. They're just, the colors on them was just screaming. Now I see these things routinely. Babies are routinely like $250. It's like a massive increase. And then some of the pretty ones that are out there, I've seen them go for several $1,000s, which just literally blows my mind. But it's just, it is what it is.
So Christina in the chat asked about Hermans. I think Hermans, Greeks, and what's the other one I'm missing? There's a
Egyptian.
There's another. It'll come to me. I think all of those are great. The problem is Russians. I think they're probably all great pet tortoises. The problem is they're all imports because no one breeds those little guys, which I wish people would start getting into breeding them, because that kind of fits that niche. They're a small in-home tortoise that you could have.
I think the redfoot is just unparalleled in terms.
I agree.
I mean, it's just in terms. It's pretty. It's personable. The size, it's big enough to be like, hey, I have a decent sized tortoise, without being like, hey, it's going to blow my fence down, that kind of thing. And
I think the Hermans and Russians are great for apartment people that live in an apartment. They work great in 40-gallon, or that family that's never had anything and they don't really have a yard, but they have a room for a 40-gallon tank in their house. That works great. But if you've got a small yard, I think that redfoots are.
Oh yeah, there's so much to like about them. So much to like there.
You're right, Chris. I'm looking at Morph Market. These box turtles are crazy expensive.
Yeah, I know. It blows my mind every time I go on there. Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Yeah. And some of the ones the guys say, "Oh, these things are screaming." I'm saying, "Good dude." I had stuff that was so much better looking. It was just, I wish I still had them. So.
I mean, a fresh out of the egg 3-toed box turtle, $150.
Yeah.
Damn.
What?
And that's a 3-toed. The Easterns are the real. I mean, the real pretty ones are the Eastern ones.
Yeah. So. Here's a Florida male for $500.
Yep. There you go. It's not. You guys know who John Richards is? He's the guy that does alligator snappers up in, I think, Missouri. It is.
Name sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back when I was doing box turtles and I had that thing, he kept telling me, he said, "Chris, everyone you breed will send to Japan, because Japan really wanted them." And he told me what, he thought he could get for them over there. And I'm sitting there going like, there's no way, man. These are box turtles. This is just going to be what it is for. And then he was 100% right. I mean, he was just so right. It was just ridiculous. And now they're pricey here. Not that you don't have to do anything. They're pricey here, So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Well, if you look, like I said, it's an animal that is high desirability, ease of care, super pretty.
I love mine in my classroom.
Doesn't have a lot of babies. Doesn't have a lot of babies, and it takes a while for them to become reproductive. So, if you're looking at something from a financial standpoint, that's it. That's it. I mean, you're going to have constant demand on a very low supply, and they're not going to be collected out of the wild correctly anymore, because most places really clamp down on that. I mean, it's just an absolutely perfect storm of a not talked about species in the trade. Everybody's else chasing all these other things, and it's just, you know, if I was, I should probably buy every single one of them for my son and just tell him, dude, we're just going to sit on these for the next 50 years.
Right.
What's the legality on selling them in Texas? Because I know like
Yeah,
hey,
I think they're gray listed
store.
here, if I remember right,
Yeah.
or something like that. I think that's.
I
what it
wanted
is.
one for my classroom, and it had to be gifted to me.
Yeah.
In Texas.
Yeah.
Because the one that I got was given to me by Drew and Becca from the Learning Zoo.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I think you can have a permit to sell them, but I'm not. But
Yes.
please, but I'm in the zoo world, so like I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not even. You know, I don't take it as gospel or anything.
Yeah. Your permits are different.
But I think I know somebody who said he had it listed on his permit or something. You could have a certain number of them and sell captive bred or something like that. But like I said, I could literally totally be full of shit. So
they are like just a small indestructible pet. They are a great pet. Like a classroom pet. It'd be a great classroom. Yours has been a great classroom pet. Kids freaking love it.
My favorite thing ever is to take her down to the littles downstairs, make them sit in their rug in a circle and let her walk around in the circle, and I'll drop some lettuce down or put a bug, except for the day that she peed all over me in front of kindergarten, and they laughed and thought it was the funniest thing they've ever seen. And that's still what they talk about me. Like I'll see them and they'll ask about Alice, and then they're like, do you remember when she peed on you? I'm like, yes, I vividly remember that day. Thanks.
I'm glad they stopped selling ornate box turtles though, because they were collecting so many of those from out west, and they were all very adapted to very dry conditions, and they would bring them over here, and they'd all die within like 6 months, the wild caught ones. And so,
oh man,
that was so. If you get captive bred of those, they do pretty good. But that was actually a really hard species to acclimate, and I would actually say, you know, everybody talks about these species from around the world sometimes being tough to acclimate, but I would put the ornate box turtle, a wild-caught adult ornate box turtle, are the top 5 animals to acclimate to captive conditions, and they just would collect them wholesale, and they just, you know, they would just die in mass, and it was really kind of good.
I had an ornate. She's 45 now, 45
Good.
years old. Well, I say that I don't have her anymore. My former. Yeah,
you should go get that turtle.
I don't know what she has, but
that's a good one. That's one of the 10% that made it there. You know, that's really good.
So I got her from some people that got her as a hatchling 40 years before, and they were retiring and they were going to live in a motorhome, and they gave her to me, and that was 5 years ago. Shit, almost 6 years ago.
Yeah, we have a couple of them that were raised. We keep them out, and they do pretty good, you know. But like I said, that was a hard animal to acclimate.
So at Crocodile Counter, what's the one animal you have that you think people overlook the most, but you think is the coolest?
Oh wow, that's a hard question.
I mean, I know you love Niles, but people don't overlook the Niles.
They're kind of a flagship, so they don't get overlooked. That's and alligators definitely don't get overlooked.
No.
I'd probably have to flip back those Chinese alligators. I think that's probably, because it's the first crocodilian you see when you come in, and a lot of people just, you know, they blow right by them and go see the big American alligators, you know?
I love Chinese alligators so much. And I know that people that don't have any experience with them don't understand it, but it's just, like, it's the perfect crocodilian for me, because I don't want one that's going to try and eat me. So I've had that.
KP tries every now and then.
No, he just comes for food. He's fine. I've been around Niles that tried to eat me, and it wasn't cute. And I've been around American Crocs that tried to eat me, and it wasn't cute.
Those are scary.
And even I've been around Dwarf Crocs that wanted to eat me, and I mean, granted, I can just hit them on the face, but still, I think that Chinese alligators are just so cool.
Yeah, and I think they're probably people like them though. When you sit there and you talk about them and stuff like that, people don't like them, but they'll just go right by them initially. You know, it's kind of interesting to me that, you know, that. But you know, on a totally unrelated note, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, we switch over to American alligators 80% over the next 5 to 7 years, because there's so much development going on down here, and like there is not a day that goes by that we do not get an alligator or two called. It's really gotten to a point of almost it's going to have to be a public service to do it, because it's just really crazy. I mean, it's how many alligators.
Well, that's like our buddy Megan, who had someone argue with her once that alligators didn't show up here until after a hurricane brought them here. Like, and I've had kids who don't realize we have alligators. I'm like, guys, we have tons. Find a body of water in this area. it's got an alligator in it.
There's a video.
Oh, yeah.
There's a video online. It's an older black woman.
Oh, in Louisiana.
And it's a puddle. It's literally a like 3-inch puddle, like 3-inch in diameter puddle that's like a 1/4 inch. She's like, you see this? And she's like smacking the water. She's like, there's gators in this water. You are in Louisiana. There are gators everywhere. And she's just like smacking this little tiny puddle. I'm like, she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
I say I've removed them from ditches. So
I
know.
know.
Yeah,
If
so
they
we're
fit in the
just
water,
in the
they're going to
last
be there.
month, we've had the chemical companies have quite a few down there. I mean, I can't tell you how many. We've had golf course calls. I can't even tell you how many people just have them in their backyard ponds. I mean, it's got it. Like I said, it's gotten to the point where I think at some point, just from a public service, we're going to have to decentralize our crocodile work, just to be neighborly with the American alligators, that are going to end up coming in here. So
that's what you need to do is dig out that entire hoof stock, build you a boardwalk.
That's actually what we're going to do. That's exactly the plan. The existing
awesome.
hoofstock boardwalk is going to be the overlook for the alligator, the new alligator lagoon back there. That is exactly what the plan is. Yeah,
that would be awesome. Yeah,
and it's going to be really big and that should give us holding for another, I don't know, we could probably hold another 50, 75 alligators in that area, It'll be a really cool exhibit too.
Big area.
Yeah.
So anytime you get a call to remove one from like a neighborhood or whatever, does it get re-released or do you have to take it in?
We don't actually usually go get them at all unless we don't have to. But what has happened is there's so many. See, the way it works in Texas is typically you're supposed to call the game warden. The game warden issues a number, like whatever you want. I don't know what you want to call it. It's not a citation, but it's a
wildlife resource document.
Yeah, and there's a number on it that allows in the areas where the nuisance trappers are divided up for around the state and the area, so that you call those people, you give them that number, then he's legally allowed to come and get that alligator. Gotcha. What happens is there's just so many alligators that they'll call and I say, hey, I got this alligator on my porch. Can you come get this thing? And I'll call the state and I'll say, hey, look, this lady's got one on the porch. And half the time they've already fed the alligator, which is why it's on their porch in the first place. So it's automatic.
You would love this if it happened to you.
Oh, yeah.
If you walked outside and there was an alligator, you would be calling in sick that day just so you could stand at the door and watch and see what it did.
100%.
Well, we really don't have time to do it. That's the whole thing. I mean, there's just really no time, but we take them when I'll tell you when we took, because there was really no other option not to take this one, because otherwise they would have got a bullet. But there was this guy, and he had this alligator, and he had taken this alligator. He was feeding this thing probably the better part of 10 years. This alligator was coming in this guy's yard. He was washing it with the hose, and even has a video brushing his teeth with a toothbrush.
Jesus.
So he was moving. And so when he was moving, he was worried that something was going to happen to this alligator, which of course it would, because
most 100%
an alligator who gets his teeth brushed coming into their backyard, and so anyway, we went and got that one, and he's with us now. But that's more the norms that we take, or the ones that are injured, or that kind of thing. And then most of the ones we get are just from zoo to zoo transfer. American alligator is a very common educational animal in zoos, and they start getting too big, and then they give us a holler, and we end up taking them out like that, So,
yeah, and they're constantly building new neighborhoods. Every neighborhood has at least one pond in it, and so it's always going to be a body of water that alligator's going to move into. And you see all these these Facebook groups going, "There's an alligator in the water." Well, no shit, it's water.
Yeah, so I just think as a general concept. Somebody called the other day on the phone and they misspoke, and they said, "Is this alligator encounter?" And in my head, I'm going, it might be in a few years.
My word.
But yeah,
it's crazy. When I was at the zoo, people would bring us a baby alligator every now and then. I'm like, what? Why? Why did you just leave it where it was? Like, you're lucky you didn't get eaten trying to bring me that baby alligator.
That's all. That was what always fascinated me. Like, how did you get out of there with this baby?
And it's like
without mom coming and getting you? Because they would bring us like
But they
Almost
would
brand
never
new.
bring it to us like the day they found it. They'd bring it to us 3 weeks after they found it. And they've been feeding it hot dogs for the last 3 weeks.
I don't know why everybody wants to feed them hot dogs. That's what everybody feeds them is hot dogs. Well, so
I had someone bring us
hot dogs. And the world of choices that you have, you feed hot dogs.
I had someone bring us a full-grown 3-toed amphiuma, like 2.5, 3 foot long amphiuma, and they're like, "Yeah, we had a hurricane and we found it in our ditch, and we've had it for like 3 months. We've been feeding it hot dogs." At what point do you think this amphiuma is finding wild hot dogs? Like,
it's crazy, man. I know. I don't know where it comes from. It's nuts. So
that was always the go-to. Feed it hot dogs. Jesus. So let's talk about Crocfest.
Yeah, Crocfest is that's going to be a good time, and it's first time ever being here in Texas, and so Crocfest, and I don't think this is an exaggeration either. These people have done a great job. So over the last 10 years, they have literally what started as a backyard barbecue raised over $1 million for crocodile conservation. Literally,
That's awesome.
$1 million from a bunch of people that were just having a backyard barbecue. It is by far the most successful grassroots conservation thing that is, I think, ever been done in the herp world. I mean, I don't think there's even a close second right now. But I mean, and the beauty of it is it all goes back to crocodile research. And because like when it's raised, when the money is raised, they just distribute it to the scientists and the people that are doing the field work immediately. I mean, it's just so whatever goes in goes right back out. There's no storing of the money or anything like that. It's just it's a fantastic situation. It basically is done the way you wish government would run, where there's no bureaucracy to it at all. So it's really cool.
So when is it? What are the times? What all can people expect if they come to it?
It is June 7th, and we're going to go. I think it starts at 9:00. And Crocfest is basically you come into the park. We're going to do feedings all day long. We're going to have multiple booths from multiple different organizations. Then as the day goes on, there's a barbecue meal, and then the highlight of the entire event is the auction at the end, because that's where really the majority of the money actually gets made. So if you have items that you want to donate over, people send them over and then they bid on them. And it's just a raucous good time. I mean, that auction is it's a lot of fun to be there. And, so as far as that's
James, you should do a big Blanco.
I'm going to do, I got some reptile.
Yeah, you should.
3D prints.
You can totally do some 3D print stuff.
Yeah.
I think it would be,
yeah.
We might even get, so one of the things that I loved to do at our zoo was painting with the animals.
Oh yeah,
and we would get the canvases, and you would do like different prints.
We can get KP to paint.
I was going to say we can paint with KP.
If you do that, that'll be a hot item. People like that stuff. So, it's all animals.
And then we always did a photograph with the animal and like a little information sheet that went with the painting, so they would have that.
Yeah. So what we do is like when I've gone to several
Crocfest.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that would work. Yeah.
Yeah. Box turtle.
We made that. Yeah.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I do remember making that for you.
And so what happened? Like I've been at several Crocfests in Florida, and you get in there, and I buy. If you come to my house, there's all this croc artwork. That's all I go to Crocfest for, is to buy this croc artwork, because it's the only place you can get it. So you just start bidding on it, and it's just a lot of fun, and
it's for a good cause, so you don't mind.
For a good cause, and you hang it on your wall, and it looks really great, So it's really good. But the whole event is just and there's a lot of people. Obviously, it's just a whole day of people that like crocodiles and want to hang out and talk shit about crocodiles and just shoot bullshit all day long. And it's just a really great day to come together with like-minded people and then spend some money at the end of the day, and it all goes off to Temistoma. And what's really cool is we're actually, one of my former employees, James Watson, one of our alumni, he is actually over there right now studying Temistoma in the wild.
That's cool.
So, so there's a direct connection. So when they asked us, we want to do Crocfest, I said, okay, yeah, we'll do it. First one, they wanted to get out of Florida for the first time. And they said, what species you want to do? I said, oh, we'll do Temistoma. I said, that's our new thrust. I said, and plus we have an alumni working with them. And so James is going to get, some of the beneficiary of it. And I think that's pretty cool. So
that is.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're going to be there all day.
I will be there. Robert should be there, right?
Yeah, I actually rescheduled that work thing.
Great.
Outstanding. Yeah, it'll be a fun day. I'm hoping the weather is good.
I was
June
real
should
slick about it. We have this thing scheduled, and today we were in our leadership meeting, and they were like, "What day did we decide on that?" And I was like, "June 14th." And they were like, "Yeah." And they wrote that on the calendar.
That's what I remember. That it was
Hell
June 14th.
yeah.
I will
Joseph-
say one thing about Crocfest is it has been way more work than I thought it was going to be.
Those types of events are
And we still have a
absolutely.
month and a week, 5 weeks to go, and there is still a lot to be done. And so it has been. Plus, we're in the middle of field trip season, and so it's just been, we've been piecing this together as much as we can. But we did, but it's been pretty interesting experience. So
Is it like when you have someone come visit your reptile room and you're like, oh shit, I got to clean the entire reptile room. But now you're like, oh shit, everybody's coming to visit the park. I got to clean the entire park.
You know what we have groups every day. That's actually the beauty of having an event at our place, because we have people every day. So we don't have to do any fundamental changes or anything like that to really, we could potentially have an event. Like if you tell us on Monday, we could eventually have an event on Saturday. I mean, if given enough, preparation with the staff and everything. So in this regard, the actual day of Crocfest doesn't take a lot of planning, like what we're going to do, because we're going to do feedings and that kind of stuff as the day goes on, and lectures and whatnot. But the part that really takes the planning,
I was just about to ask, how much planning are you doing?
The shirts, the meal,
Yeah.
the auction, which is still ongoing and probably will be up into June 7th itself. Just getting people to line up, doing the auction, just all that is just god dang. It's a lot, And what's amazing is, like, because we do this kind of second nature, we're always, we have our beliefs facility and we give a lot of money to conservation. It's always amazed me that how the smaller organizations tend to give more freely. Getting money from some of these big places is literally like pulling teeth. It is they have to go through layers of bureaucracy to give you $500, and it's literally insane.
Yeah.
You're thankful to get it, but oh my God, it should be one phone call, and just like, somebody calls me and say, hey, Chris, we $500 for conservation. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on. I got to go through 4 different levels of people to get it out of some of these big city zoos. It's really kind of nuts. And,
so Katie used to do all the.
That was
planning.
all me at the zoo, and I don't miss it at all.
Yeah, it's just that's what takes so much time, because you're contacting these people and you got to get on the circle and all this stuff. It's just, it's really something.
Jeff in the chat asked if I can give you his number. He wants the fundraising organizers to contact him. He wanted to help out, so I may give you his number later.
Sure.
And, give it to whoever. And Jeff, he wants to help out with that too.
Yeah, anybody's willing to help, we are certainly willing to accept it, because like I said, it all goes to there's no ego involved in this conservation project. If you're willing to throw your hat in the ring and help the animals, and you can rest assured that you are literally helping the animals, because the money is directly going to the wild study and the people that are actually in the field working with them. So it's really great in that regard. So,
well, Josephine and I get off the boat that morning. So whenever off the cruise ship. So whenever we are back here, we will be there.
I'll say you'll make the auction. You'll be back in time for the auction, so you'll be fine. Yeah. It's going to be a good time.
So I saw something in the flyer for it that said that yours was the largest crocodile collection in the States or something, but like
we have more crocodiles than everybody. Like, we honestly, if you just take our now crocodile group and pile them all together,
that's what I figured it was numbers. Because I was like, so now St. Augustine has it will have one of everything, but they don't have, I'm sure, like 70 Niles like you do.
So we used to our max species number ever was 20, and so we had almost all of them. We didn't have black caiman. What else did we not have?
I never realized how big they got until I watched the show as a kid. I think it was Jeff Corwin went to like South America.
Yeah, they get real big.
He caught one, and it was massive.
But we decided as a conscious effort. That's why, like I said, I was telling you about the Orinoco's earlier, that I just didn't want to do stamp collecting. I didn't feel there was a lot of value in it anymore for what we're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's pretty cool to actually have all the species. I think that's a bit for us. It just wasn't. We prefer big groups where we can really, do some.
You get a lot of behavioral stuff because of
we
what
do.
You
a lot of behavioral stuff, and it's just for us, it's just it just fits what we do a little bit more, So
I like the fact that you get an in-depth look into a species. St. Augustine is great because it's a tourist thing and people can go see all the
wonderful
crocodiles
facility, yeah.
and it's cool. But as far as your understanding of how Niles act, or your understanding having 8 Tomistoma, you're going to get a big understanding of how they act and how
Well,
they
there's not
interact.
much like with Nile crocs that we haven't seen. I mean, I've been keeping them for 3 decades, and they live outdoors in big giant enclosures. So I mean, we see everything that the animal is going to do, and it's actually been one of the greatest rides of my life because, like, if there's one animal we were really synonymous with, it's that one. And so we just, we've done it through multiple generations. I mean, we have like 4 generations of now crocodiles at our place, from where we had our originals and they had their sons and they have their sons, now they have their great grandsons out there. And so, I mean, it's really, they are the main thing that we do. And, it's a great species because when you think of a crocodile, I mean, Nile crocodile, probably with your saltwater crocodile, that's your, you're kind of like your stereotype for for a crocodile. Then you have your alligator on the other side. And if I was a smarter businessman, that's what I would do. I would just do things, but I just like animals too much. And so, it's just been a lifetime spent with them. So it's kind of weird how it happens, man. You start doing this when you're like a kid, and then next thing you're middle aged and looking back on it, and you're speaking about things that you've done rather than things necessarily that you're doing. And it's just, it's kind of weird how life works like that, So
Well, I'm hoping a lot of people come down to Crocfest. I feel like your facility is kind of like a hidden gem because it's not one of the big places that everybody thinks of. I don't think, but they should. Like people need to go by there and see it. It is an awesome place to see because you're not going to see.
It's kind of weird, Yeah, it's like some people they know about us, and so like we have people they'll come out and say like we had some people out there last week. They were from some Florida facilities, and they said we've never seen animals kept like this, and it's just, which is nice to hear, but we don't ever really try to. I don't have much ego involved with this, as far as, I mean, everybody has an ego, but I really, people, they, we do it. I do it because I like the animals. I always have, so it's just, and the whole facility has been built with that in mind. That, I didn't want to see them in small enclosures. I like to see them swim. I mean, when I walk out there in the morning, the first thing I do, I usually get to the facility usually about 7:00 in the morning, give or take. And walking out back to see those crocodiles just coming up the basket in the morning, coming out of the water and watching them swim is just, it's so cool, man. I mean, it's just so primeval and it never gets old. And I have my personal 2 crocodiles. They wait for me every morning at the dock. So, if I'm late, I mean, they're both sitting there staring at me. I mean, as far as that goes, so I go and get them something. And
is that your 2 where the one got loose through the fence?
No, that's which, you're talking about the one into the other enclosure on the other side?
Yeah,
that was Ajax. Yeah, we that one we reinforced, so he stayed with his girl now. Yeah, but yeah, they sit there and they wait for me there on the dock, and so I bring them a bunch of pellets every morning. So
I like the alligator enclosure by the goats where it's got all those little cut throughs and they kind of go up into the grass. You don't really know how many are in there, and then you start looking and start noticing.
I think there's 8 in that one, and then on the other side, I think there's about a dozen over there. So, as far yeah, there's a lot of alligators, man. I mean, if you asked me for a set number right now without looking at papers, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to make up. I think it's roughly 50, but I couldn't tell you for sure. Because they come in, man. They just come in. We had a zoo drop off a half a dozen of them 10 days ago. So.
Oh my god.
Do you ever? I mean, I know it's got to just because of personality. But how often do you get an alligator that's just like an asshole? Because like I've never really seen that many asshole alligators.
No, they're out there, man. And they're almost always ones that have been raised almost by themselves. Like if a zoo keeps one animal, that is the worst one to get because. The problem with it is first of all, when they're in a zoo, they get fat and out of shape. And ours are in basically natural conditions. So they swim, they hunt. And so they're like these athletic, for the most part, in shape animals. We have a couple blubber ones, but and then you put the zoo animal in there and you got to watch him for a couple days because you can tell they're having trouble because you'll see slashes on the tail.
Gotcha.
You know, because they'll come up and they'll slash on each other, and so you can look for those slashes. In the springtime, you tend to see them anyway, because they do them a lot for mating and territorial prospects. But you'll see the slashes across the tail, and you know there's something going on there then. So, but you really just have to watch, because one gets pushed out. So when you see our enclosure for the alligators, there's so much broken sight lines and mini ponds here and mini ponds there that, you know, typically they can go ahead and find a place where they can make their own and everything like that. So, but we're going to need that other lagoon. I mean, it's inevitable, because there's another zoo right now. They want to send us 24.
Oh, gee, that's
because they've been raising them from babies. They kept the hatchlings, and they've got up to like 3 or 4 feet, and they're just overwhelmed. They're in concrete pools. They're just clogging up all the works they have. And, you know, here, like I said, for us to dig a pond, I just have to bring out an excavator. I can put it wherever I want, you know. So we'll just go ahead and
make you some money. Just sell. I mean, you already sell the food, so people can just go there and feed alligators off that pier, and they'll make.
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean, it's so much fun. Like I said, I do it every morning myself, you know. I mean, so as far as that goes, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just something that we do kind of almost as a public service at this point. And, you know, it doesn't really, we're within their native range. Alligators don't really, you know, they don't cost us any electricity or anything other than if we go dry, we have to pump water. But I mean, for the most part, they're wonderful animals. I mean, way overlooked. Like my friends in Europe and Africa, they all want alligators. You know, everybody wants alligators because
their care is just, because of their personality, is so much easier.
They're just the best. I mean, I love now crocodiles, like I was just saying. I mean, and I love them. But if you had to choose one crocodilian to keep, I know you choose a Chinese, rightly maybe.
Every day.
But you could not go wrong with American alligator. It's big, it's personable. I mean, tolerant of all kinds of different conditions. I mean, they're fantastic animals. I mean, they are. If
you have to go work in their exhibit, you can do it without them trying to sneak up behind you and eat you.
Yeah, they're really pretty safe to work. I was telling the guys from Florida that the other day, like, because our now crocodiles are all raised here. Every single one of them is raised here. We haven't really brought an adult in some time, but and so I've been in with my now crocs. You can just weed whack right around them because they're so used to people. Well, and I showed these people this. I said, look, as long as you don't do a trigger, these animals are not going to move. And so, you know, we went in there, moved around, blah, blah, blah. The second I hit the clicker for food, totally different response. All of them just like velociraptors. Boom, you know, it's just like, it's so crazy. It's just like, you know, they wouldn't even move. I mean, until they heard the click. It's just how they're just really well-conditioned animals. And it was fun to watch, you know, so.
That was the scariest moment I ever had was a Nile crocodile just launching at my face while I was deep in a pool. And it launched 4 feet off the ground into my face. I never seen myself run that fast.
Sure. I mean, it's a big machine for sure. So
the alligators, I was always like, all right, they'll move out of the way. They're fine. I've never.
You know, we get a couple bully alligators every once in a while. We got 1 or 2. They're hungry. They just want to, particularly this time of year when they're kind of coming off of winter where they're just not really full from, you know, the whole thing. And so they'll just keep coming at you. And but you know, they're easy to work around though. They're not tough or anything.
That's why I was telling my kids when we're going over animals, we're talking about, you know, kids always want to know what's the most dangerous this or that. And like, honestly, in America, we got it easy. Like especially where we live, there's nothing that scary here. Like for crocodilians, we got American alligators, they're giant puppy dogs. I was like, we got black bears, you just yell at them, they'll run away.
There's a whole book series. There's a whole book series called Who Would Win, and it like puts 2 different
and it's
animals.
Never anything from North America because
no, there's actually a handful of things from North America now. But my 4th graders are obsessed with these books though, and they're great.
I've seen those books. Yeah.
I have a whole bunch in my classroom. But and then there was even and it's like 2.5 3-minute videos, but National Geographic did a Who Would Win.
Yeah, they did a show
about it. And they did a show about it. And it's all little clips about
I didn't always agree with the outcome of that show sometimes.
I don't always agree with the outcome of the book. And what's cool though is after the kids read the whole book, we can then have a conversation. Do you agree or do you disagree? And then they can
you just gotta wonder in like the Florida Everglades if alligators are swimming around every now and then, seeing an American croc and going, "Oh, there's that fucking asshole again." Why can't you just chill out? That was one of
Funny.
the worst. Was our big American croc was not a fan of anyone being around him.
They are a little bit more ornery. They're not quite as gregarious. Although in Costa Rica they get along a little better under that bridge, but for the most part, they space themselves out pretty good. Like down in our facility in Belize, you can see one American crocodile. Like if you're out eye shining at night, you may go a half a mile before you'll see another one.
Really?
Because marine environments just tend to be more. The foods tends to be more spaced out, so the crocs tend to territorialize, bigger areas, whereas riverine species tend to get along a little bit better, So
Yeah, there's always those pictures of American alligators at night where you look down like a canal and it's like 60 sets of eyes.
And caiman are like that too. You'll see 1,000 caiman in a certain section of Withert River, So
Do you have any want to keep caiman of any sort?
not anymore. We've kept them all other than black caiman, and I think that for right now that we did bring Morley crocodiles back this year, which is something I didn't really know if I'd keep again. But I decided to get a morph one, and it's absolutely a stunning animal. So it's as bright yellow as our yellow nowls, and I decided to keep one of those. We got a female with it. But no, the caiman, I think right now I don't think there's any. Because we have dwarf crocs, and I just don't think there's any real reason to keep any more small ones. But when we move the Orinoco's out, we do have a lot of indoor space right now. So we've kicked around maybe keeping smaller species and keeping them indoors. Just making them an indoor portion of the facility. So
Caiman just
all
never
the
did anything.
Orinoco's are gone now.
Oh, we moved. The last one just went. Yeah, it just went.
Caiman never really did anything for me. Although I do like our zoo after I left and went back. They ended up getting. I think it's
Speckled caiman.
No, not speck. No, maybe it's the smooth fronted. They look kind of like alligators.
Yeah, they're all cool. I mean, I've kept them all. I mean, I really like dwarf caiman. I do. I think if dwarf caiman were endangered and everybody thought they couldn't get them anymore, they're probably one of the most sought after animals in the because everybody likes dwarf crocs and they're cool, but I mean, dwarf caiman is just as cool as far as that goes.
I just remember as a kid seeing caiman sold in like shopping mall pet stores.
Oh yeah, for $20.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You talk about a horrible pet for general public.
That is truly a horrible pet.
Horrible pet. Like what? First off, where are you keeping it? And then it's never going to be like, hey, let me hold this caiman. It's going to be super calm and it's going to love me.
Yeah, I don't. It's really hard to even understand how that even occurred, really. But thousands of them too. I mean,
there's so many. I couldn't. I just wondered what happened to all of them. Like, 'cause there's not. It's probably just people in like Minnesota with the alligator. That's the other thing that amazes me is we can't keep alligators here, but the fucking way they keep them up north is insane.
Oh man, it's something. I used to back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember King Snake or anything like that.
Yep.
Yeah. So there used to be an alligator and crocodile forum on there, and I always tell these folks they be up north getting them. I'm saying you can't possibly keep this thing up there. I mean, there's just no, unless you're going to dedicate the entirety of your basement and half your house or whatever it is. And I would always send them a picture of one of my really big ones, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, but I got so many years." I'm like, the thing's going to grow in captivity 2 foot a year. I mean, you don't have as much time as you think, and for the most part, once it hits 4 or 5 feet, that's too big for most of these people.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the vast majority. 4 or 5 foot alligator is starting to get kind of stout. It's not a small animal by any stretch of the imagination. So.
Well, and that's kills me. Like, I've got all this time. Okay, we got time, but still, if you have a male and you're talking 9, 10, 11 foot, that's a lot of fucking alligator.
It's a lot of weight. That's the thing too. Crocodiles are so bulky that
yeah,
they'll get long first, but you got a 10-foot alligator. At first it's going to be a 150-pound animal, but it won't be too long before that's a 250-pound animal. Then it's going to continue to go up from there. So they thicken out pretty quickly.
I'm always
the coolest part about them. So.
Well, see, we went up to the Houston Zoo Sunday, and it still shocks me. I'm like,
very impromptu.
It was. You're the Houston Zoo. Please get bigger alligators.
Those are my alligators.
Are they really?
They're so small. Are they both females? I'm assuming they're both females.
I know we had a male up there. They lost one. They used to have 3 in there, but there's 2 in there now.
There's 2, and they're probably 8 foot, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what they were. We put them. It's really funny though because they still remember their training. So when I go up there, if you go up there and you click, they'll come to you.
Oh, really?
Don't
Yeah.
tell him this. This is all
What I'm doing?
Yeah, if you get
We
the right
went.
if you get the right click frequency, they'll come right over to you. We do it all the time.
Good to know.
Hilarious. So we went because there was the traveling elephant herd at Memorial Herman at the park, at Herman Memorial Park.
Big like wicker elephants.
Tomorrow is the last day that they're going to be there, but you could basically walk through this herd of real
life-size wooden
Asian elephants. And it
cool.
really was amazing. But I wanted to see it all month. And so on Sunday, James was like, get up, we're going. You want to go see it? Let's go. And then since we were there, they were like, do you want to go in? Because I wanted to see the baby elephant again that was born back in November. And then the
baby jaguar
is finally out on exhibit, but they had the male out on the exhibit at times, so we didn't get to see the baby jaguar. But he was like, we'll just go in, we'll see them, and then we can leave. You know, we have a membership, so we're there all the time. We were there for what, 4 hours?
Something like that.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
That is definitely if you like crocodilians, that's definitely a letdown. It's the one thing they're not great. They don't have really. As
Yeah, they
don't have a
used
lot
to
of
have a
good
really
content.
great Chinese alligator exhibit up there years ago, and then they really don't do a lot with it anymore. You know, I mean, it's just they decided to focus on elephants and some other things. You know, but
They got a good new reptile
manager
though, and then she's working.
She's trying to get a new building and get everything, because that's the one.
Isn't Eddie there though? Isn't it? I thought he was the curator.
No,
Audrey just started.
What is Audrey's last?
She's the manager, not the curator.
Yeah, manager.
She's the manager, not the curator.
Yeah, Eddie's the curator. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, they. I liked all those folks up there. They're good. They're good folks and everything.
There have been some really cool changes in the reptile building, though.
They've moved some stuff around.
Some stuff.
They definitely need a new building. That is when you go to that zoo. The zoo is great until you get to the reptile house, and you're like, oh look, it's 1950.
That's pretty standard, you know. So.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully they'll get a new one built at some point.
But yeah, we took those alligators up there. They've been there probably. Oh wow, when did that wetlands exhibit open?
It was before we got here.
7 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it was relatively new.
Because it was fairly new when we got there.
Yeah, so yeah, we put them in there and whatever. But yeah, they've been up there for a while. They had a nest, so I know there's at least they were fertile one time, but I don't know. I forget which animal passed up there. I think it might have been the female, but I'm not sure. One of the females.
Gotcha.
The only zoo that I've ever been to that was a zoo and not a reptile place that just really went above and beyond with reptiles.
Wow.
Was it Lufkin?
Lufkin had a shit ton of because I interviewed.
But that was because oh my Lord.
We have this Great Dane puppy, and oh my God, it's just every night it is just like a rodeo over here because we got this really old little dog, and he hates him. And so
oh my star.
No, but I interviewed with Lufkin. They had more off exhibit than they had on exhibit.
Yeah, but the stuff they had on exhibit was still really cool. But that's
they had black crocs at that zoo.
Yes,
their director was a reptile guy.
Yeah,
and so that's why they focused on a lot of reptile stuff.
Gladys Porter Zoo has a tremendous amount of reptiles down there.
I've heard really good things about that zoo.
If you go to Gladys Porter Zoo, you will almost think it is a reptile zoo. The first time I was there, I was really blown away by how I was like, this place has like an inordinate number of reptile exhibits, but it's because the curator is in fact a herper, Colette, so she's a really old school. So she's really big into it.
That was always the weird thing at our zoo in Louisiana that I worked at was that. So our director, he liked reptiles too, but when they built it, like the reptiles were spread around the zoo. So when everybody had like their section of the zoo to work in, I'm like, that's cute. My section is every section. So like after it's done, I have to go every part of the zoo.
Yeah. Gladys Porter is. They had like their tortoises everywhere, They just got crocs here. They just have stuff all over. It's really, like I said, if you're a herper, it's really kind of cool because
that's a day trip for us, and we could just get a hotel for the night and then come back. That's not a bad drive.
I like the valley. I love going down to the valley. I think it's cool down there,
So Timothy in the chat said, what about Gharials? He does have false Gharials, Timothy. We talked about them earlier, but how many people really work with Gharials in the States? That's not
It's not very many. I know Bronx Zoo just brought in some more. St. Aug has theirs. They had a baby, a couple years ago.
DC has some.
There's a few, but it's been mentioned to us because that's a species that actually does reasonably well in cool weather. Because where they're from, I guess it's a little bit cooler. I haven't spent a lot of time studying their requirements because I've never really seriously entertained, getting those animals. But
you should. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's been mentioned to me a few times, and I think for now we're probably set with our Temistoma for a while, but we'll see down the line, what we'll do. But right now, I don't think there's any real need for housing for that species.
Just we need to have false Garioles and then Garioles and go look.
I will say this: the false Gariole is far more attractive than the Gariole. Far more attractive.
Yeah, its face doesn't look as stupid.
Yeah, and coloration. I mean, when you really see a Temistoma, I mean, the color on those things is they're really crazy colored. It's like somebody painted them. It's really something to see.
Well, and at least their jaw starts off thicker too. Like they don't look as goofy with the big old needle nose.
Yeah, it's all mottled. It's just a really attractive animal. And the head on the Temistoma is actually the largest head of any crocodilian. It's massive. I mean, it's truly a massive skull. And they also have the largest baby, which one of these days, when Destroyer gets a little bit bigger, Destroyer is pretty big right now. I think he needs one more year and he could be reproductive. And then we're going to put him with our two larger females. And I would very much like to see a Temistoma baby just because of because then we could say we hatched the largest crocodilian and then the Chinese alligator is the smallest. So, you can have the largest one hand and the smallest on the other. That'd be really pretty cool. That'd be a neat thing right there. So
anytime hatching Chinese is going to be cool. I'm all for that.
They're loud. They hatch fast too. 60 days.
Really?
That's the beauty of the Chinese alligator.
Oh, damn, that's like ball pythons and stuff.
It's fast. I mean, you don't have to wait very long, and they start making a lot of noise when they're in the egg. I mean, it's just really cool. I remember the first time I heard the little Chinese alligator in the egg making a noise. I'm like, yeah. It's like so fired up. So it's just like winning the Super Bowl or something.
Oh, I'd lose my shit.
You would lose your shit.
What's crazy about it is, I'm sitting in my office chair. My incubator sits in my office. And so you're sitting in your chair and you hear this, and you're going, oh, yeah, man. I mean, let's go.
Okay.
Let's freaking go.
Robert, you know how James is when he has pregnant snakes. And you know how he is when he has snake babies.
Yeah.
I would have to
block him
out.
Like on all social media. And
I would have to move out temporarily.
It's the most fun though, when you hear that. When you hear it, it's just by far the fun. And then they all explode at the same time. Like particularly now, crocodiles, they come out at once. Like when you start hearing them, and then it's almost like popcorn, boom, boom, boom. Like when one comes out, I mean the whole nest starts coming out. I mean they'll all come out within an hour.
Really. That makes sense evolutionary wise. That once they go, they've got to get the fuck out of there before they get eaten.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the mother's going to take them. She's going to be right there to haul them down in the water. And if you miss the boat, you might literally miss the boat because then you're going to be, all these predators are going to come in, the Nile monitors and the birds and everything else. So Chinese alligators don't quite do it that way, but they come out pretty close at the same time too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I scream and yell when I still have baby Sambo is born, so I couldn't imagine.
We mentioned you the other day when we were at Megan's with Joe's Girl Scout Silver Award group, and they were getting their hands on. So Joe's is in a group of 3 people, and they are creating an awareness box that will be placed at 3 different camp locations
Girl Scout
to
camp.
teach the Girl Scouts that are camping there about the native wildlife, specifically snakes, that they will be finding in the area. And so they are doing presentations. And so Joe, throughout this whole hands-on with Megan, Megan would be like, okay, so does anybody but Joe know this answer? And I mean, Joe was like, why am I even here? Like, why? You're not going to let me talk. You're not going to let me answer. She's like, but you know this. She's like, you could teach this, which is why you're doing this project. But the other 2 girls in the group, neither one are reptile people. So they've had a great time learning about everything. And but they're coming up on programs they're going to be doing for several different groups, and they've created a pamphlet that's going to be passed out and information that's going on the Girl Scout camp website and Megan's website, and it's been a lot. It's been a long project, but It's pretty cool.
Very, very, very fun. Yeah, there's a lot of things people can do to, contribute. Everybody does their portion. That's
yeah.
how you go. So turn it over to whoever.
All right, so let's wrap this up. So Chris, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do it?
They can go right to our website, crocodilencounter.com, and shoot us a contact form on there, or the email's on there too, crocodilencounter@gmail.com. So, and we'll get to you. And anybody who's listening, if you have good items and I'm telling you, unique items sell. I mean, like if you have a photo of a crocodilian, or you want to do some kind of artwork or anything.
Well, Jeff is an amazing artist, and he was saying he could do something, whether it's a painting of a crocodilian or he could do
a voucher
for a pet painting. He does pet paintings.
I'll tell you, if he would do a painting of a crocodile, I can't even tell you how good those things. Honestly, I'll probably buy it myself. But
Chinese alligator with a baby.
Usually how it goes, but they're the best.
Get an adult Chinese alligator with a baby sitting on the snout of the adult.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Like I have one of my staff members. She's a really good artist. We have that big yellow T positive albino now, and it's called Half Jaw, and she's doing a painting of him, and we're gonna put it out there. That's the stuff people like, and we get donations from other places, like Zoom Ed donates. There's going to be setups there, there'll be tanks and stuff like that. But in Timberline and all those places, but it's that stuff there that really, makes a difference. And frankly, I need to get a lot of this. We're starting to get it together, but this is going to happen really, really fast because 2 weeks from now, we're halfway through May. And I can't be walking around with my head up my ass, and so I got with my keys stuck in my truck. So we gotta make sure we get all this stuff squared away. So,
and
I'll be out there.
Items, we absolutely will appreciate it, and it'll be fun to watch them go in the auction. And it's just a good time. We take live animals too. Like in Florida, they auction off live animals. If you have somebody out there that has something, like a baby snake, anything like that. I know in Florida they do that.
I got some boas I need to get rid of. I can do a boa.
Yeah, people like that stuff, and
they do all kinds of stuff. That's got some stuff that can go.
Yeah, it all gets auctioned and it all goes, and it's just a lot of fun. So
I was going to pull this up on the screen. Jeff just sent me this picture. I wanted to. Oh, there. Hold on.
Somewhere on there.
Is that on a piece of wood? That's kind of cool looking. Let's see how close I can get it to the camera.
Oh yeah, that is cool.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll go. People love that stuff. So yeah, anything like that, it's all appreciated, and and you'll be surprised how much good you can do just with stuff like that.
This was he sent me this earlier. This is a commission that he's doing of a pet painting.
Oh yeah, he should definitely do it. He needs to do a croc painting. There's no question, no question. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you all out there, and it's going to be a great time, and just look forward to everybody. We're just going to have a great day out there.
And I'm bringing the equipment. I'm going to do several interviews. So for weeks after that, we're going to be releasing some interviews from out there.
Yeah,
it'll be a good day to catch people out there too, and there'll be people there that you want to interview. Like I don't know if you guys know Chandler at all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
he's wild as hell, but he's a good friend of mine, and so he's going to be out. He sent me today getting the airport information, and there'll be a lot of people out there that, just from around to do the Crocfest from around the country, and we're hoping to get a nice Texas representation because, well, it's never been here before, and it's just we want to get a lot of more of the local folks, and we really would encourage everybody though to get your ticket on June 7th on our website. If you go there, it says Crocfest, because you have to have a ticket to get in. Obviously, that's how we fundraise, and we are going to limit the amount of people that do get in that day. So there should be around 300, 350. So
awesome.
Is it already on the website?
It's already up on there, yeah.
Okay.
So
But
we'll really start pushing it here in the next week or two, so that everybody knows, because if there's a big walk up and we don't have space, well, you're not coming in. So
there's only so much room in there.
Yeah. So we're gonna make sure everybody has a good time and an appropriate amount of space. So
everybody's gonna just have to hang out with the sulcatas and take turns walking in.
Yeah, exactly. So so just get your tickets and come see us.
Awesome. Chris, hang out for a second. Everybody else, thanks for hanging out. We will be back next week with somebody. I think we're gonna get Jack back on soon. We're gonna make him call in from the Netherlands.
What?
I saw. It's funny. I was on Crocodile Encounters Facebook page earlier today looking for something. I was scrolling, and I found one of the pictures I think Chris took of Jack when he was there petting one of the Aldabras.
We may have to do Monday of next week.
Okay.
I
We
don't.
can talk about this after we're done.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, sorry.
So, we'll be back next week. Thanks for listening.
What? Hold on.
Oh.
Sophie will be mad at me if I don't tell everybody. She's asked me to let everybody know because I said about her snake being found by her cat last week.
Oh yeah.
Her snake is fine. It has no injuries and it ate this week. So,
Yeah.
thank goodness.
Robert's girlfriend, snake is good.
Yeah.
And now she's already planning on getting a second one because they're addictive.
Outstanding.
Can't have one. So, all right, guys. Good night. We'll be back next week. Goodbye.
Night, everybody.